Are you concerned about all this corruption being misgendered as conspiracies? Well, don't you worry. Sit back, relax, and join in the conversation as we talk with today's guest. Welcome to another LSB Film Productions podcast with your host, Chris Brooks.
Hello and welcome to the channel and the podcast. It's me, Chris Brooks, for another LSB film podcast. Today we've got the wonderful Colin back because he was well received last time, and it's just interesting to listen to what Colin has to say. He has a good vibe about him and I want to hear more. We're going to talk about star signs and how they pertain to the Israel something. I've already fluffed that up. Tribes of Israel, that's right. And I'm sure we're going to go off topic so many times. So if you've got a pen and paper to hand, you could tally how many times we go off topic and then let me know in the comments.
I do that.
But yeah, welcome to the show, Colin.
Hello there, Chris.
How's it going? Did you have a nice break?
Oh yeah, we had Sunday dinner on a Wednesday for some reason.
Did you? Oh yeah. Did you get a white Wednesday?
No, we didn't, but there's quite a lot of snow around the area at the moment.
Oh, is there? We ain't got any.
Yeah. It's actually there's no snow where we live, but just up the hill, it's absolutely piled up. It's sort of just thawed out in the bottom of the valley, really, but quite a bit. There's various folks can't get to work variously. Hotel Fiona works in is blocked out up near Haweswater, and apparently they had a power cut the other day, so that would have been fun.
And I suppose there'll be loads of flooding now once the ice starts.
Not too bad because it's that blooming cold. Everything's iced up, so nothing's starting.
No, but I mean, once it starts to thaw, you'll then have
that
as
a warm
an issue.
spell. Yeah, it could get really quite wet.
Mm.
Good old Eden Valley.
Yeah. So, talking star signs.
Yeah. Star signs, the tribe of Israel, how it pertains to British Israelism, the sons of Jacob, the Jacobites, and heraldry, and the symbols used in heraldry, and also that heraldic devices are called devices, and what the word device means, because of course it means to divide. It's divisive in and of itself, which is why if you get anything with a coat of arms on, they're trying to divide you away from your
true
spirit,
self.
basically. Yeah, through laws or Judaic law, which comes from the tribe of Judah, which is what we can hopefully get into on this presentation.
Yes.
Although,
sounds
as I've already said, it's a bit of a confusing subject. Some of it's still a work in progress because there's bits of it I'm not entirely sure on myself. I'll make that quite plain so that, if I can't answer a question.
Disclaimer.
Well, yeah. But I mean, nobody knows everything. And, where the hell do you find the information? It's quite a lot, quite a lot going on. But what I will say, just this last week, we've had Trump talking about Greenland, which is quite interesting if you look at the coats of arms of the King of Denmark, and he's just incidentally changed his coat of arms just this last week for whatever reason.
Oh, has he?
And the supporters of his heraldic shield on his coat of arms are both Reuben, which is the face of man, which is very interesting. The lineage of kings through to Prince William, through the Dukes of Marlborough and the Spencers, from James II of Scotland, who was the unicorn, which is a symbol of wokeism, which is very interesting. And also how Charles comes through the Judaic line, through the Tudors, also the Stuart kings, the Germanic lines, and Christian IX of Denmark, who was also tribe of Reuben. So William has got a bit of both going on there, pertaining into the age we're moving on into, which is Aquarius, which is the age of Asher, which I hinted on the last presentation when I spoke about Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Well, the Holy Grail is the cup, and the symbol of the tribe of Asher is the cup.
Right, okay.
It's all a bit mad the way it works out. So if you're looking at these royal coats of arms, and who's in charge and what these coats of arms stand for, you can work out who's up to what, where, when, and why, and how it then relates back to the Bible through Bible prophecies that they seem to be quite intent on enacting out, whether we like it or not. And also the formation of Israel, because it's all the lost tribes of Israel are trying to get back to Israel. You're watching it and you think this is absolute mumbo jumbo, but then these are the symbols that they're displaying. So if that's what they're displaying it for a reason. And if it's through a coats of arms, which is a heraldic device, then they're heralding the divisiveness of their intention, if that makes sense. So when you see the royal coat of arms of the United Kingdom, and you've got a shield with some lions and all the rest of it on, you've got the harp of David, which goes back to the line of Judah, the Aryan side of the tribe of Judah, which is also like the red hand of Ulster, and a unicorn, which is from the Scottish kings, although the unicorn is chained down so it can't escape. The unicorn being the imagination. So if your imagination's constrained, that means you're under contract. That makes sense. Because if your mind is unconstrained, you can think anything. Whereas if your mind is chained down, you've got to then do as you're told, which is how Judaic law works, because Judaic law is contract law and it's the law of man, which is the age that we're coming into. So they've managed to get all this put into place through the ages, through the different sort of administrative eras during the last age of Pisces. So it sounds absolutely crazy. And when I started looking into this, it was sort of, well, that's sort of interesting, but bonkers. And then you get into it, you think, oh my God, this really is total mumbo jumbo. And then you reach a point, you think, my God, this mumbo jumbo is what they're actually doing. And then it gains a gravity that's sort of, it's surprisingly odd. But then all the way through my journey and trying to find out what facts are, then I'm sure people watching this will realize some of the stuff you think's ridiculous is the most factual information you will come across. And I'm going to use the word fact rather than truth, because when you get back into etymology, I've discovered recently that the word truth pertains to the word trust. So if you think about the root word, it's TRU, truth and trust. It's the same word. So if you're going to court saying you're going to give them the whole truth, hello, cat. Meow. If you go into court and say you're going to give them the whole truth, and nothing but the truth and all the rest of it, you're giving them the whole trust. You're giving them your trust. And then it's their trust to do with what they want. Again, and this is under their coat of arms. They've chained down your unicorn, your imagination, and their rampant line of Judah through their Judaic law is going to savage you. That's what their coat of arms is actually showing you. So this is how crazy the system is, and this is how sort of black magic-y mumbo jumbo it is. But in a world that's masonically constructed, that is all mind construct, then that's how the mind construct works.
Well, that's what government is, isn't it? Govern mind.
Yeah, control the mind. Yeah, absolutely that. So what I've been looking at is the previous age of Pisces. If you look at it from the tribes of Israel, it's the tribe of Naphtali. Now, the tribe is just the age. It's not who is administrating the age. So the administrators of the age of Naphtali are the Levites. Now, the Levites in the Bible are the priest classes. Now, the last 2,000 years has been basically handed over to the Pope, who's claimed everybody's soul through religion, because he's the vicar to the Son of God. That's his title, the vicar to the Son of God. So therefore, the Pope, as the high priest of the world, not the earth, but the world, is administrating the trust of your soul through the tribe of Naphtali, which is the age of Pisces, which is the fish. So that's the Dogon people, the one who wear the funny fish head caps. That's why the bishops wear mitres and what have you. So that's quite interesting, because that's how it's been administered through Masonic order under license of the Pope. So his military orders are the Masonic tribes. Now, there's various Masonic orders through the militaries that are sanctioned by the Pope. So if you think about it, sanction, sanctus, saint, it's all the same thing. So the saints are purified by fire and all this lot. Well, what do? They come and burn you at the stake, don't they? Through the Masonic order, such as Jack de Molay in whenever it was, 1307 or something. So I think the best thing to do is go through it astrologically, because people understand the astrology, and then transfer that onto the tribe of Israel that it pertains to, so that people can see the relationship, and then the tribes that administer it and what their symbols are. So if you start at the beginning of the year, which is March the 21st, so we've got Aries, which is the ram in astrology, pertains to the tribe of Judah, which is the lion. So you've got either a white lion, a red lion, or a red hand. So the white lion is the original sort of tribe of Judah, and then you've got the Zarian branch, which is the red lion and the red hand, such as the red hand of Ulster, which is where you get caught red-handed.
Okay.
Because that's Judaic law. You're caught red-handed, breaching the trust. Now they're administered by the tribe of Zebulon, which is the symbol of the Zebulon. That's administered by the sons of Jacob, Zebulon.
Okay.
And the Zebulon is a ship. Now, if you think about how the British Empire controls the world through trade, because that's basically what it was through the formation of the East India Company, which later became the United States. It's all based on maritime law and ships and navies. So that's the tribe of Zebulon. Now, if you look at the coat of arms of Bristol, you'll see there's a ship on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you look at the coat of arms of the Great Western Railway that ran between London, which is where the Crown Corporation is situated, and Bristol, you'll see the Red Cross, Fire Cross of St. George with a sword of Simeon and a ship of Bristol, and that's the railway that connects them. So that tells you that the coats of arms of that railway company is built under Masonic order, and it's there to connect London with Bristol, the Masonic temples. Well, you get to Bristol, the station's called Bristol Temple Meads, and whereas
Bit of a giveaway.
where is the City of London? Well, it's Temple Bar in London. That's where the sword is, sword of Simeon. Now, Simeon was the brother of Levi in the tribe of Israel. So the swords of Simeon and the Levites, the priests, are the one and the same, which again you'll see on the Old Bailey, which is at Temple Bar in London on the Strand. You have the scales, which is the tribe of Dan, and the sword of Simeon, held by Justice, you see, which is blind. But anyway, we'll get on. The next star sign is Taurus, which is a bull, which is tribe of Israel is Joseph, and they administrated by Issachar. And the symbol of Issachar is a donkey. Well, if you look at a lot of Eastern European and Germanic town symbols, you'll see there's a donkey on the town's coats of arms. So they are administered by Issachar. So you can see who's administrating that. Well, who carried Christ into the temple?
Little
Issachar.
donkey, little donkey.
Yeah.
I used to love that.
It's not what you think it is.
No, never fucking
Which
is.
temple you've been carried into? So where's the Old Bailey? It's at Temple Bar. So they're dragging your Christ conscious on the back of a donkey into their temple. So this is what the Bible stories are telling you, if you understand how that's working. And then we go, the next one along is Gemini, which is the twins, Castor and Pollux.
That's me.
Which is the tribe of Zebulon. And it's administered by the tribe of Benjamin. The tribe of Benjamin is the wolf. So Wolverhampton, that's tribe of Benjamin. A lot of German places are, again, Ukrainian. You'll see military vehicles in the Ukraine have the wolf's angle rune on them, which tells you, which is like a Z with a cross in it. So you'll see that. So they're all tribe of Benjamin fighting in Ukraine. So again, if you know what you're looking at, you'll know who is doing what, where, and when. If you watch, if you read Lion and Witch and the Wardrobe, the lion's secret police are the wolves. So the lion is Judah, the king of Judah, that's Aslan, and his secret police, well, the queen's secret police are the wolves, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, I hadn't. Yeah,
So if you know your
I think I'm
symbols,
gonna
and you
have to
know what,
rewatch that again.
oh, it's full
With
of
this,
symbology,
yeah.
the whole thing.
Mm.
And then we go up again. We go to Cancer, which is the crab, which works out as the tribe of Reuben. And that again is Issachar. We've just discussed Issachar, which is the donkey. So Issachar gets 2 goes. And then we go to Leo, should I say, which is the lion. That's the star sign,
Mm-hmm.
which is the tribe of Israel is the tribe of Simeon. And the tribe of Simeon is administered by the tribe of Judah, which is quite interesting because Judah's the lion. We've just got back through that. So you can see how it all sort of rolls round and starts. If you think about how things work in life. And then we go up to Virgo, star sign Virgo, which is the maiden, which is the tribe of Gad. Now, the tribe of Gad is a rider on a horse, a chevron, or a military tent. So that's military orders, is the tribe of Gad. And that is administered by the tribe of Naphtali. The tribe of Naphtali is the stag. Santa Claus has reindeer pulling his sleigh. The stags pull Santa's claws. Santa Claus, Santa's claws, claws of the contract, the claws of Satan. Okay. So reindeer pulling Santa Claus's sleigh is the tribe of Naphtali. Now the age of Naphtali, going back to Pisces, is the Levites. So the Pope's clauses through his Masonic orders. You see how that's all running in? So
see, I've also heard like Santa Claus, Klaus, Claustrum.
Yeah,
there's so many different variations on Mr. Claus.
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely bonkers, isn't it? Absolutely bonkers. Now, if you want to know, see a symbol of the tribe of Gad. The tribe of Gad symbolizes the vessel for the soul. So your body is the vessel for the soul. Well, as we know from the birth certificate, you're listed as a child and the child is dead, so you've got a military title.
Mm-hmm.
So your military title is the vessel for the soul, and you're under military order through Naphtali, which is administered by the Levites, i.e. you're under the Pope's rule. And that's how that's working back through the birth certificate.
So maritime law.
Maritime law, which is why we have Judaic law through contract through the tribe of Zebulon, so the sons of Zebulon, which is naval, admiralty law. That's how that's working. Now, it's all hidden through the astrological clock and how these systems are built up in time over an age to entrap us into their system through their devices, which are their coats of arms, which is absolutely crazy. And then we go on to Libra, star sign Libra, which is the scales. And that is the tribe of Ephraim. And the tribe of Ephraim is the bull, the unicorn, or the bugle. And they're administered by the tribe of Asher, which is the Holy Grail. So if you're looking at coats of arms, anything with a bull or a unicorn or a bugle is tribe of Ephraim. So the Scottish kings with double unicorns on their coats of arms, the Stuart kings. The first Stuart king, King Charles I, should I say, because he went Charles, James, Charles, didn't it? So it's James I of England, which is James V of Scotland. Was he had two unicorns, but when he became King of England and Scotland, which was Great Britain, then he got a lion and a unicorn, but the unicorn was chained down because he was under contract. So
Right. Okay.
again, not only they're telling you who he is, it's telling you how he's operating through his device. So there you go. And then
I
the
hope
next
everyone's
one,
following along.
I'm confused myself, so don't worry, folks. I'm bonkers. Come and join me. The water's lovely. Your next star sign is Scorpio, which is obviously the scorpion,
Yeah.
which is the tribe of Manasseh, which is administered by the tribe of Dan. Well, Manasseh is laurels and arrows. Well, we know laurels from Rome, the United Nations, and the arrows are in a cross, which is the Saltaire cross. So you're looking at things like the Scottish flag is the Saltaire cross, Jamaica is Saltaire cross, the Russian Marines and Navy is a Saltaire cross. It's the inverse of the Scottish one. Now, interestingly, you see, if you get the Scottish flag, it's a pale blue, but when it's incorporated into the Union Jack, it becomes a darker blue. So it's showing that the control of Scotland has changed to a different tribe because the tribe of Manasseh has been taken over by the tribe of Judah.
And the Union Jack is only a Union Jack at sea, isn't it?
Can't remember all that much.
I
Something
think
like
I
that.
think it's a Union flag if it's on
Union flag,
land,
Union
and it's
Jack.
a Union Jack if
Yeah,
it's out at sea on the
yeah.
water. Yeah. Okay.
Because you see, you've got the Saltaire of Scotland and the English Firecross of St George. You merged them, and you got the flag of Great Britain. And then when they took Ireland as well, which was later on, then that became the flag of the United Kingdom. So it's a different flag. The flag of Great Britain doesn't have the red diagonal cross.
Mm. Okay.
So it's all just a bit. Again, we're into mumbo jumbos and flags and devices, and trying to understand it all is quite difficult because you seem to go round in circles. Because
Mhm.
what you'll find there, you see Libra in the star sign is a scales, but the scales is also the symbol of the tribe of Dan. So if you look at the tribe of Dan that administers Manasseh, which is the age of Scorpio, then you've got snakes, a prancing horse, and an eagle. So Ferraris and Porsches are a tribe of Dan. I mean, that's how in Stuttgart, you see, Stuttgart is where Porsche's from. And they've taken Porsche badge from the coat of arms of Stuttgart, which is a prancing horse. So it's tribe of
Oh,
Dan.
so it really does go
So,
deep then.
oh yeah, so you're looking at us. So get me to the paper. Austria, United States, Czech, Poland, Germany, Sweden, and Russia all have eagles as their coats of arms. So they're all tribe of Dan. So I think I might have spoke on the last one about Russia and the United States are the same, administered by basically different aspects of the same tribe because it's an eagle.
Hmm.
But one's the white rose and one's the red rose. So you've got ascension and descentive roses, which in the five-pointed stars, if you look on the military vehicles. But you see the military orders come from the Levites under the Pope through the age of Naphtali, which we've just left.
And would that be the same five-pointed stars like the Pentagon? Is that a five-pointed star?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pentagon and sort of the House of Lancaster, House of York in Britain, in England.
So is it safe to say or fair to say that all these tribes are satanic?
Oh, they're all one and the same. They're all Masonic orders, but they're all infighting within each other for the actual ultimate control of the world. But the control of the world is to control the mind of the people on the earth. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Because government is mind control. So when you control government through your Masonic order, you control the minds of those involved in that Masonic order. Because through the birth certificate, you are classed as the lowest rank of the military service.
Yeah.
Through the title Mr., Mrs. I mean, the latest one's MX, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, what's
God knows.
that? No.
Oh, God knows.
You've got master as well, haven't you? Is that
Well,
also a
yeah.
low one? A
Well,
low?
you're the master of your vessel. So if you go back to the tribe of Gad, your body is the vessel for the soul, but the soul's been claimed by the Pope because your soul inhabits the vessel that's your body on earth in this world. However, you don't mix up your spirit and your soul because your spirit is of God, the creator, and your soul inhabits your body. So there's a differentiation between the earth and the heaven
So when
in
they
their
say
work.
you've sold your soul,
Yeah,
they're not referring to your
you haven't sold
spirit
your
because that's
spirit.
different.
Your spirit activates your soul again through the bridge, and the bridge is the rainbow bridge, which is the chakras, the different colours of light. You see, I mean, you've even got it behind you on the Pink Floyd. You've got the white light coming in, which is spirit, yeah, and then it hits the prism, the diamond, which is the white carbon, and it splits into all those colours. So, so basically, the white light is the spirit. As I'm looking at it, the left hand side of your picture there, which is pretty useful, and then on the right hand side, you've got all the different colours. So that's your soul split through the carbon crystal. And again, you're getting into black and white checkerboard. You see black carbon, coal and graphite, and you've got white carbon, which is diamond.
Okay. Because
So
checkerboard
that's,
is hugely associated with Masonic, isn't it?
oh yeah, absolutely. Churches and all sorts of things have got black and white floors and what have you. So right, where are we up to? Yeah.
Can I just say really, really quickly, congratulations that we haven't steered off course yet.
And we could do.
I
Give
thought,
me time. Tell you what the weather's like we did last time. Right, we've done
yeah.
Scorpio, haven't we? Shut up, Kim. Right, thing you've got Capricorn, which is the goat, which is the tribe of Dan, which we've been through already, which is the snake and the scales and the eagle, and that's administered by the sword of Simeon, which is interesting because you see the two largest militaries on the planet is the Russian and the United States, and they're both symbols is the eagle under the tribe of Dan, and Simeon is the swords, which are the priest class of the militaries, basically. So where's all the military technology gone? Well, it's all gone off there. But you see, originally, the City of London used to fund the British Empire, and they're also Sword of Simeon. And the British military was the biggest military on earth, the biggest navy under the tribe of Zebulon, which controlled Judaic trade through maritime and admiralty law by controlling the sea lanes from sort of, 1800 until basically now. Well,
Mm.
that's been threatened now because they're bringing the Silk Road into play, so they don't need the sea lanes. So the navies are going to be basically obsolete almost. And new military technology have been brought on that there's two types of ships. You've got submarines and easy targets. And that's how naval warfare
Mm.
has progressed. So if you've got the missile technology, you can blow up any old ship. So what's the point of a carrier group? Total waste of
Yeah.
time. You can
To be
sink
fair,
them
you could
in.
probably use drones as well now.
Well, the
Because
Houthis are doing, aren't they? They sent a carrier group to the Red Sea. Next thing you know, they all ran away because they discovered the Houthis have got some pretty powerful missiles sent to them by the Chinese, the Russians, who knows? But doesn't matter who, they've
mm.
got them, so they ran away. So basically, we're going back onto the land, so our land-based empire, which means we've got to get back to land-based law, which goes back to sort of proper common law, the law of man, rather than this maritime nonsense.
And do you think that's
So
going to happen? Do you think we're going to see that?
it is happening if you're looking at it slowly but surely. I mean, it probably happens slowly and then all at once. It's sort of, it's the chipping away and chipping away. Because, I mean, you can't build a railway from China to Europe in 5 minutes. I mean, they
Mm.
do run trains between China and Europe via Russia, and they're trying to put railways through Iran and all sorts of places. But it is happening. If you read things like Mackinder, Alfred Mackinder's book, um, is it Geopolitic? Um,
Don't know.
Buckminster Fuller wrote about this as well. And also, air freight's made a difference because you can overfly land more easily than you can overfly the sea. It's safer for a start
Mm.
off if you've got a bail. And also, the way the world's changed in recent times, you've got better routes because think about it, like 50 years ago, you wouldn't have overflown the Soviet Union to get to Japan. You just wouldn't have done it. But until recently, they were flying what's now Russia to get to Japan. We can't do that now, or China. But now they've got a railway running through. Well, I mean, previously they had items of different gauge because Europe's standard gauge, China's mostly standard gauge, and then in Russia it's 5 foot gauge. Well, you've got to detrain everything and change everything. So they built another railway line. Now got a standard gauge railway line running through Russia now. So they can just run trains straight through. I mean, they probably stopped. They did run. They have run some trains for freight rather than use the sea lanes. And I think the war in Ukraine's put a stop to that temporarily, possibly, but I'd have to look that up. But easy enough to find out if you're that bothered. And then the last one we're getting up to is Aquarius, which is the water carrier, which is basically in the Bible, it's St. John with his jug of water, John the Baptist. And that's the tribe of Asher. And that's administered by the tribe of Reuben. Well, the tribe of Asher is the cup. Well, you could actually say the cup carries the water and Reuben carries the cup.
Right.
And Reuben is, so that it's, the symbol of Reuben is water. So if you ever see wavy lines, blue wavy lines on a coat of arms, that signifies water. The face of a man, as I've already spoken about earlier, the King of Denmark's coat of arms has two men either side of it. Read the oak leaves a bit, you might notice, round his head and round his middle. And also a mandrake, which is it's the symbol on the French flag, you know, the blue French flag.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also the same thing as a Scout Association is a mandrake. Now, Scout Association's interesting because the Scout Association mandrake has...
as in you dib, dib, dob, dob. Scout.
Yeah, the Scout Association's symbol is a mandrake and it has 2 5-pointed stars on 2 of the leaves of it. Mad, isn't it? Scout salute is that. So if you know your fingers and your energies of your fingers, through there, you've got Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Apollo, Mercury. So your Mars power is covering the message of Mercury, and you give to yourself or up to God, because there's the salute and the sign. There's 2 different things in Scouts. So that's your knowledge, your service, and your wealth. So you're either giving it to yourself or giving it to God. So that's
it's all ritualistic.
Yeah. The Polish military salute like that as well. Same as the Scout sign. And the Scouts shake hands with the left hand as well, which is sinister.
Blimey.
When you get into the symbols, it's absolutely mad. Absolutely mad. I mean, I remember the badge on my Scout. The badge on my Scout uniform was purple with a rope around it, which probably signified the snake, which is tribe of Dan, with a golden mandrake on with the 2 little 5-pointed stars. So it's all in there. And it was just, you know, being.
And I'm sure the colour purple has some relevance as well.
It's the royal colour. It's crown chakra.
Right, okay.
Yeah. But it's tribe of Reuben. That's what it is. That's what it's signifying. Purple flowers. Now, if you watch, you've seen I Pet Goat too, haven't you?
Seen what?
You've seen the animation I Pet Goat too.
Don't think so.
You're not done. Thought you had.
The animation of
I Pet Goat 2.
I Pet Goat 2, no?
No, have you never seen that? Well, at the end of that, you'll see a load of purple flowers opening up in on the water, which is interesting because the water is the Asher, sorry, Reuben, and the mandrakes are purple.
I Pet Goats 2.
Yeah.
As in I Pet a Goat.
I Pet Goat, yeah.
No, but I shall have a look.
Oh, that's absolutely jam-packed with crazy symbology. But the end of it, you'll see lilies opening up. Well, lilies are also known as mandrakes, mandrake lilies, and they're purple and they open up on the water. So that's symbolizing the age of Reuben. Right. So we've sort of got all that lot sort of waffled about. Hopefully everybody's not too confused.
No, that was good.
So if you think about the age, astrological ages last 2,160 years. So the age of Pisces that ended on the 21st of December 2021 began in 148 BC when the age of Aries finished. Now, Aries is under the rulership of Mars, and Mars is martial, Martian, and warlike. So the world that was then could have been destroyed. So people say the world is 5,000 years old in creationism. So the world that was created, well, creationism, whenever that world was created, could well be 5,000 years old. So if you're going back, say 5,000 years, you're in the age of Taurus, which ran through the age of Aries. So the attributes of Taurus and Aries destroyed themselves. So Taurus is earthly, it's an earth sign, so it's earthly goods, materialism. And then it was brought forward, built up, and then possibly destroyed in a war in the Aryan times. And then the priest class have got hold of whatever's left of it all 2,000 years ago, and they've built us back up again because they're the ones with the knowledge. So as I said last time, people think the Pope's awful. Well, perhaps he is, perhaps he isn't. But then if he's claimed the soul of man for man's benefit, then perhaps they've developed the priest classes through all these different systems to get us to a position where we can look after ourselves again.
Because like the Pope, just really quickly, because like the Pope will kiss the shoes of a Rothschild. Or so, so he's not right up there. There's people above him.
Then you think about your symbology that I've just been talking about. The Rothschilds is red shield. Who had red shields? Roman soldiers. And what were the symbols? Well, it was the laurels. Well, who has the laurels? We can have a look on my little list here. I can remember. It's the tribe of Manasseh. Now, if you look at the American flag, the tribe of Dan, which is the eagle, has the laurel berries, and the arrows in its claws, doesn't it not? If you look at the seal of the United States. So again, you're looking at United Kingdoms. Well, it's the kingdom of heaven, and the United States, which is the state of mind, through Judaic contract, through maritime and admiralty law, because everything in the United States is code this, code that, USC code, blah blah blah. It's all about contract law. It's all admiralty. It's all under the tribe of Dan that holds in its claws the arrows and laurels of Manasseh. So basically, the United States is Roman law under the administration of the Vatican through the East India Company, which is what your stars and bars American flag's all about. If you understand the colours and what, because they're all 5-pointed stars on that, aren't they? And some of them have gold fringes and some of them don't, depending on where they are. So it's a gold fringe in a courtroom and it's gold fringe on a ship.
And so are all these flags symbolic of Satanism then? And the only reason why I say that is because it was the Romans who crucified Christ, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So they were no friends of Christ.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we are literally in a demonic playground.
Yeah, but that's the world they've created. That's the Masonic world that they've created. That's how it all works. When you're getting back into the beginning of the age of Pisces, 148 before Christ, that is 2,160 years divided into 180-year sections. So you count backwards. So the age of Pisces begins with the minor section of Pisces, then Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, and it runs like that. Every 180 years it changes. But of course, when you then transpose the astrological ages into the tribes of Israel, and then the sons of Jacob that are administrating those particular ages, then it becomes quite interesting to see. Because if you think, you begin with the Aries, so the sign of the Christians is the fish. Yeah, you see that on car stickers, because they said, oh, they used to draw that in the sand in the desert to identify themselves. Well, perhaps they did. So that was the charge of Naphtali under the instruction of the Levites, which is St. Peter and all the popes following him. Now, he set up all the Masonic orders, and then they've been basically charged with administrating the worldly affairs of the solar man on earth on behalf of God as God's representatives under kingships. Well, the kings were all in the Masonic orders because the kings control the militaries on behalf of the Pope. So when the kings step out of line, the Pope will send the other kings against them, which is, if you look at the way the wars have worked, you know, there's a saying from Stalin, well, how many divisions does the Pope have? Well, actually, he has all of them, if you think about it, in that respect, because he controls all the Masonic orders. So when one Masonic order goes off in the wrong direction, he gets all the rest of them to gang up and form against him and fight against him. Because if you think about it, you know, England has fought France in the Napoleonic times, and then France has fought Russia, but then Russian royal families related to the British royal family, and then, you know, the British are now fighting against the Russians through Ukraine at the moment, and then the French and the British and the Americans fought against the Germans, but then they helped the Russians do it. So it's like they're always changing sides. Well, you know, I don't care where you come from on earth, whether you're from Brazil or Azerbaijan or, I don't know, anywhere you, Burundi, doesn't matter. I don't have a beef with anybody. But the Masonic orders have beefs with other Masonic orders that are in charge of governments, or in the past, kings. And the kings had their heraldic devices. And then when kings take over different, I mean, think about Britain. It was kings of England, which were under the tribe of Judah, which is the lions. And then the lions came from France, if you look into that deeply enough. And then the unicorn was brought into the United Kingdom coat of arms from the kings of Scotland. So
where does the unicorn relevance come into it? Because all the other animals are real animals. For the unicorn is well, we assume from what we've been told, is a mystical animal.
Who knows? But then you see, if the unicorn represents mind, your mind is mysterious, so it can be.
Yeah, that's true.
Mine certainly is. Well, this nonsense I'm talking now.
Your words.
Right. So so basically when you get through, it gets quite interesting around the sort of the Tudor times, which is the 1600s, because 1632 is the beginning of the Taurian phase of the Piscean age, if that makes sense, because it's been however many 180-year cycles. So if we take from, say, 1632, you've got the bull, which is Joseph, which is Issachar. So that was the Holy Roman Empire and the formation of the various companies through the setting up of the British Empire. So you're talking land empires against the naval empire. So they built up a naval empire through the Tudors, the Stuart kings, and then latterly through the House of Orange and all the Hanoverians, because the Hanoverians got hold of the British crown, didn't they? After William of Orange.
I don't know.
Oh yeah. So that's Issachar, which is the donkey. Well, if you look at the coats of arms of the countries, well, you've got to find out where the donkeys came from. So that's why we've got a Germanic British royal family under the Holy Roman Empire. So basically the Holy Roman Empire has taken over the British crown through the Hanoverian bloodline, which is Queen Victoria, because she came onto the throne in 1832, which then is the beginning of the Aryan age, which is the last age of the age of Pisces. So the Aryan Judaic law that comes through the tribe of Judah under the administration of the tribe of Zebulon, which is basically, that's why you sort of say ship shape and Bristol fashion. Everything's done properly under law, under naval law. So this is how your coats of arms are illustrating to you what's going on.
It's fascinating stuff. Yeah, it does make sense.
It does make sense when you
The
get
trouble
into
I
it.
have, unlike you, apparently, is just retaining the information.
Why do you think I've got all these bits of paper that I can't read all over the bloody place? Look at it all.
Yeah.
But no, again, it's like I know it in my own head, but trying to explain it, I can't do it without my notes. It's just like bamboozles you.
Even professors and that need notes.
Oh, well, yeah. But you see, because it's so sort of bamboozling and complicated and unusually odd, then when you start trying to explain to people, unless they really are seriously open-minded, they just switch off and think you're crackers, which is a problem I suffer from all the time, apparently.
Well, thankfully, on this channel, most of I say most, not all of them, there's a few fartheads, but most of the people who watch this are fairly open-minded to concepts and things. So I don't think you have to worry about looking like a Fruit Loop on this channel.
Well, I like Schopenhauer's quote, which is the recognition of madness even in oneself is the true path to sanity. So we can go with that one. I know I'm bonkers, so everything's fine, folks.
No, that's fair. That's
fair. Yeah. So when we look at this going forward, we move from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. Or if you go in tribes of Israel, the age of Natali, which is administered by the priests of the Levites, i.e. the Pope and the Masonic orders. We're going into the age of Asher, which is the Holy Grail, which is what Monty Python's film was about. And it's basically been administered by the tribe of Reuben. So the tribe of Reuben, again, we're getting into coats of arms. Well, whose coats of arms is Reuben? Well, that's getting into the the King of Denmark. Now, Charles III's lineage comes through the Danish royal house as well. Somewhere, where's my notes? It's the House of Glucksburg, which is descended from Christian IX of Denmark. And again, he had the two men, the face of man, Reuben, on his shield. But strangely, Charles's son William is descended from the Scottish kings through the Spencer Churchill line, Dukes of Marlborough. So we had James II of England had two daughters that were Protestant, which was Mary, who became Queen Mary with King William of Orange, and the other one was what was her name? Can't read my own writing, but she married the Habsburg George I. You see, so he will have been tribe of Issachar over in Germany. Now he also had two sons, so he had another daughter, third daughter called Henrietta Fitzjames, who was apparently illegitimate, and then he had another son called James, who was Catholic, so they couldn't put him on the throne because of the Act of Settlement, which barred a Catholic king on the English throne. So the line of succession went to Queen Mary through William of Orange, so they got the Dutch Protestant on the throne of England. They didn't have any children, and then they went across to this other one, and then that ended up on the Hanoverian line, which is why we've got the current British royal family. But then if you look at this Henrietta Fitzroy, her line eventually goes through the Spencer line to Princess Diana, and then she's the mother of William. So he was James. If you look at his look at his coat of arms, it's unicorns. So going back to my crazy list here, that's the tribe of Ephraim. So they want Ephraim, which is it's the unicorns, the bull and the bugle is what they want on the throne, rather than the tribe of Reuben. I think that's what they're trying to do. So if you think of woke culture, one of the symbols of woke culture is a unicorn. It's all rainbows and unicorns, isn't it?
Well,
Well, the rainbows.
yeah, bloody GLBT,
Yeah,
LGBT, sorry, they've completely hijacked the rainbow, which is why I need to hijack it back.
yeah. Well, what's wrong? It's inversion of the rainbow, whatever.
Mm.
So basically, the sign of LBGTQ is is the tribe of Ephraim. That's what they're showing you in a modern way. If you go back to sort of Tudor times and Stuart times, then those symbols are the same symbols that's being used now, but differently. So they put it in a different way so it doesn't look, because if they just put up the Scottish King's coat of arms, nobody pay any attention to it. But if you have a pride flag and a unicorn, that's what they're doing.
Wow.
So if you're looking at symbols, it's quite interesting.
It just amazes me because it's so complex. So who's controlling all this? Because it's just, do you know what I mean? It's so orchestrated.
Well, it is, but it's sort of it's like the phrase ab ordo chaos. From chaos comes order. Well, you can turn that round. From order comes chaos. Well, if they're going to enforce so much order on a system, it's going to chaotically break down. And then from the chaos that becomes of that broken order, we'll rebuild a new order, whatever the new order is, which goes back to your dollar bill, Novo Ordo Seclorum, New World Order. What is the order of the new world? Well, it comes out of the chaos of the destruction of the old world. So perhaps that's the period of time we're passing through. And I would suggest that is what's occurring at the moment. Because we've got some pretty tough decisions to make in the relatively near future, because you see the word devices is used for computers and mobile phones. They're all devices. And to use your device, you've got to sign a contract, haven't you? So then you're into Judaic law. So if you think, if the internet is an extension of human consciousness through the transmetal of silicon, which again is going back into atomic structures, and the numbers 3, 6, and 9, and now you can reduce the atomic numbers of carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, which are the basic principal building blocks of organic life on Earth.
That's Tulsa's code, isn't it?
Yeah, 369. So you can use then you can substitute silicon in there, but it's how the silicon is utilized as the extension of human consciousness through devices. So what do? When you get a, very often it's things like, even just like your YouTube sort of what's the word, username, you can make your own name up and you put your own picture on it. Well, that then becomes that's your device, your coat of arms, effectively, your symbol on your device. So that's divided further, perhaps. Now, I mean, this is speculation, but this is like a philosophical way of looking at it for how devices are used and how devices have changed through time, from sort of basic symbols and coats of arms through sort of usernames on YouTube. So if you think you're a nation on your own, effectively, because before, I mean, think of the word coronation. There's a coronation. What did they do? They put a crown on Charles's head. So now there's a crown on the nation. He represents the nation, or is it just him? Because I can't work that one out from that point of view. Just see what I'm saying? So if your body is your nation and my body's my nation, my land, is Charles's body, Charles's nation. And they
Much
put a
like your
crown
body is your
on.
temple.
Yeah. So it's the use and twisting of words and how it's used. And again, you're getting back to this word device, the divisiveness of the language that is used and how it's used through contract. I mean, you could sort of say contract means conned and tricked almost. So we've been conned and tricked into contract through divisive language to do things we wouldn't ordinarily do.
Yeah. You could also think of the word contract. Is it like if you get an illness, you've contracted an illness?
You've contracted an illness, yeah. You've allowed it in.
Mm.
I think a lot of illness is state of mind. I mean, think of the blooming sniffles a few years back. There was huge fear put in. Well, the coronavirus, the crown virus, because corona is crown, the virus of the corona, the virus of the crown chakra, is that everybody's frightened of something that may or may not exist.
Mm.
And some people became so frightened, they actually did become ill. They basically possibly convinced themselves that
Well,
they're
can
ill.
you remember, if you remember back, and this is why you know it was such a psyops and an attack on the spirit, because they said, even if you haven't got it, just think like you have. That was the government saying,
Yeah, I remember you saying that. You prompted.
they weren't saying go outside, get plenty of vitamin D because that'll help with your immune system. It was everything that contradicted everything that we knew and that we were taught in biology and in school. And it's act like you got it.
Yeah, think yourself ill.
Mm.
Think yourself ill.
Which is astonishing, really, when you sit back and think what
Oh
they've
yeah,
done.
yeah. It's crazy, but again, government control of the mind, coats of arms, devices, the who these people are, what they represent, what they're doing, how and why they're doing it. In fact, when they're going to be doing it is predicted through the passage of time. Because you see, 180-year periods I've just described, you can split that into 12 again, it becomes a 15-year period. So the last period, which is 8 Aries, that started in 1832, you can then go back, you sort of say, well, it goes 1831, 1841, 1856, 1871, 1886, 1901, 1916, you can keep going. So if you look at any time frame, so we'll have a look at 1931, we go across, and it's Virgo, which is the maiden. It's the tribe of Gad. Well, there was a lot of militarism in the 1930s because it led up to the Second World War with the rise of Germany.
Yeah.
And the administration is Naphtali. Well, that's Piscean energies under the Pope. And then it goes to, yeah, we were looking at here, 1946, Simeon. And then Judah. Well, what came after 1946? It was the formation of the United Nations. It was 1946, around that time, through Judaic administration, Judaic law. The Nuremberg codes came out of that time through the Nuremberg trials. So if you then start bringing that back, you can see, and then that reduces again. So you've got different.
Sorry, wasn't the UN devised after the First World War? And
No,
then,
that was the League of Nations.
okay, because I always thought it was the UN, and then after the Second World War, that's when they came up with the European Union.
See, they had the First World War, which was League of Nations, and that failed, and it must have failed because it was the wrong idea for the wrong time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And after the Second World War, they had the United Nations, which was basically the same trick, but under a different name. But because the age had moved on and military systems, fighting of wars, technologies have moved on, communication systems, and also precedents in law through various trials, especially the Nuremberg trials, then that brings it on as well. But then you see you can bring that 15-year period down into 12, and then you get about a year and a quarter. So you can then split each of those down into the same thing, and then you're running around in cycles all the time. So you can sort of do, you can work things out. If you look at the last age, which is Aries, which is law, that was a 180-year period. It was broken down into 15-year bits and then in year and a quarter bits, which is 456 days. And then you can cut that down as well, and you can keep going. So if you look at the last age of the last age, it's a 15-year count. So if you go back 2021, it's 2006. So that was the lawful age. But before that was 1991. Well, 1991 is the beginning of the Taurian age, of the last age of the Aryan phase of the Piscean age. Do you follow that? Probably not. So we had bull markets, which is Taurus, the bull, in the 90s with Reaganomics and Thatcherism, with basically making money out of thin air because they've worked out how to do that through the banking industry. And we got tremendous banking excess, and everybody was apparently rich. Oh, look, my house is worth, £156,000 and I only bought it for £30,000. I'm thinking, well, you're being tricked, folks, because it's the same house. And unless you've maintained it, it's actually going to be worth less. If you have maintained it, it's actually going to be worth the same in earthly terms, but in worldly terms, it's worth more by 126 grand, because you bought it for 30 and it's now worth 156. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's your sonic trick. There's the contract, you're conned and tricked into the contract of thinking that currency, that the magic out of nowhere has value, which is a mess we're all in now. And then you see 15 years after that, we get 2006. Well, when was the financial crisis? It was 2008, wasn't it?
Yeah.
2008. So what does that mean? Basically, the last age, which is Aries, which is Judaic law, that actually caught the 1990s up. So the excesses of the 1990s bull markets, the Taurian age, and all the earthly pleasures, or worldly pleasures of the earth, should I say, were then caught up in law, and the whole system just imploded. In 2012, from then on, it's been chaos, hasn't it?
Proper royal shit show.
Mildly. So if you look at the way these phases work, then you'll see. But then you see that 15-year works into a 1.25-year cycle as well. So you can actually see it happening when you study if you look at history and look at things that's happened, things like the miners' strike, the invasion of Ukraine, the Falklands War, the fall of communism, and you look at who was administrating these different areas, who was in charge, what the time was, what the cycle was, what the astrological age was, and then you transfer the astrological age or the cycle within that age, or the cycle within the cycle within the cycle, because you can break it down to a 3-day period.
See, no, I think I touched on this on the last podcast, but I may not have done, I can't remember. And it kind of might throw a spanner in the works a little bit. But didn't we used to be like 10 months a year? Isn't December, November, aren't they relatively new months?
No, I think where that comes from, when the new year started in March, you shift your 2 months. So December is the 10th month, isn't it? Decus is 10 in Latin.
Right, okay, so we've gained 2 months from somewhere though, haven't we?
Possibly.
Like
the Jewish calendar has 13 months every so often to make up for leap years, because it rolls round. Because the moon phases don't fit exactly into a year. It's about 12
surely if we were going by the moon phases, we would then have 13 months at 28 days each.
Yeah, 28 days, and it pretty much fits. 28.28 or something.
Because when you consider everything that we've been taught as a lie,
yeah,
including time and the calendar, I would be more inclined to think it's a 13-month year with 28 days per month.
It would fit. I haven't got my calculator to hand, but all right, hang on. Yeah. Let's do some sums.
Which is why you would get that on a tortoise The shell.
28 times 12 is 336. So 28 times 13 is 364.
So it's bar 1 day.
Yeah, yeah. We see it's 365 and a quarter, isn't it? So 365.25 divided by 13 is 28.09 days. So I think that's where you get your leap years from. And they add it on. Because, I mean, February is a true month at 28 days, isn't it?
Yeah.
All the rest have got a couple of days added to them.
Yeah, that's right.
So it
So
all,
I
it
just
all,
wondered how that plays out in everything that we've just spoken about, or that you've just spoken about. I wonder how that fits in. But yeah, that's just me.
well, here's the thing. If you start looking into British Israelism and the Babylonian empires and the Assyrian empires, then the 10 lost tribes of Israel were conquered by the Assyrians, and the Judaic, and which one was it? Oh, which bit of paper now? Got that many bits of paper. Flippity flip. Yeah, the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, which is interesting, the lion and the donkey, they became the Jews officially. A princess disappeared to Ireland and married an Irish king, and then through the Irish king became King of Scotland, King of England, and then became the United States through the tribe of Dan, which is Denmark, Dnieper River, Dnipropetrovsk, which is interesting because their coat of arms carries the sword of Simeon, and the Russians just flattened Dnipropetrovsk with their Oreshnik missile recently, which means hazelnut. So, I mean, bloody hell, what was all that going?
Yeah.
When you, it, but
Well,
why pick on Dnipropetrovsk on a particular day? For what reason and when and where and how? Because I follow an astrologer who predicted the outbreak of the Ukraine war to the day. She didn't know what was going to. She says there's going to be a big war starts on this day, and there it was, 22nd of February. Biff, and it happened.
spooky, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but she's an astrologist, so she knows what the energies are.
True. Yeah.
The tribes of Israel are attached to the star signs, and then whoever is the administrative body there. In the case of the Russians, it's the tribe of Gad. So something to do with the tribe of Gad on that day means that they act astrologically under their Masonic order.
Well, to wrap it up, to conclude, because we're about an hour and 20 minutes in.
Blimey.
Now that we're entering into the age of Aquarius,
Yeah.
what changes do you see coming? What, based on what you know, what do you predict as the next few years? What's that going to show? Because I've spoken to quite a few people and they all say 2025 is going to be a pivotal year.
I think it is, because looking at my chart here, we've got, well, I've done a 3-day count and a year and a quarter count. Hang on, let's have a look at this. Got to remember what I'm up to. Yeah. We go into the, got to get all my bits of paper sorted out. Scorpio. You see, Sagittarius used to be known as Aquila, the eagle, and Scorpio. So it goes between the eagle and the scorpion. Well, the scorpions is the tribe of Dan under Manasseh, and then you've got Benjamin. So the tribe of Benjamin, I would suggest, is fighting in Ukraine. So something's going to go in Ukraine, I think, because Kiev's a major node on the Earth's ley lines. And I think they're fighting over that for the power over the Earth, because if you control the position on the ley line, then you can project power. through that, which is why the First World War was fought on the Somme because of a ley line node. It projected power ahead in future. So they're fighting over Kiev. So I think something is going to go down about a year's time, 21st to 24th of January 2026, and that will cause people to seriously sit up and look. So, we all have a laugh at the normies who just sort of go, oh, it's all conspiracy. They'll finally think, bloody hell, this is going on. This really is going on. And then I think it's going to seriously accelerate from that point. There's going to be a rise in people realizing that they've been duped by just about every system they've ever engaged in through divisive language and the use of devices such as computers and mobile phones. Because if they're recording everything that we're doing, because this is not only recorded by you, it's recorded by the Chinese through Zoom. They've got what we're saying now.
Oh, I was going to do something, but I'd be deemed racist if I did that. That's all I won't.
Well, yeah, so again, it's down to terms and conditions, isn't it, of contract through usage agreements. So what have we talked about? All I've talked about is things I've looked at and things I postulate. I've not slagged anybody off. I've not told anybody that they're horrible. I've not said I'm against this, that, and the other. I've just said I think this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, you've been in good standing.
Hopefully so.
Yes.
So it's like, well, what have you said about all this? Well, you've got it on Zoom. You already know. Why are you bothering to ask me?
Yeah.
Presented at court. We can have a laugh at it. Being some bloke in blooming Thetford talking rubbish. That's all.
That's it. Just two lads having a chin wag and
yeah.
Absolutely.
You see, I don't know whether you can see that. I've drawn. Does that
looks
show
like a
up?
fish.
It looks like a fish. That's interesting at the end of Pisces.
Yeah.
But basically, you've got a line coming up from the bottom that's a slowing progression, and a line at the top that's also reducing progressively. And then the energies go to 100% or 0%, but they cross at about 2026. So I think we're going to get an accelerated phase through 2025, which has just begun. And basically, if you understand graphs, the position where the lines cross is where the energies exchange. So I think we're going to get early to mid 2026. We're going to see serious changes in the way people perceive their observations of the world. I would suggest that's what's going to happen.
But a good change. A good change.
A good change, but it's going to be possibly a frightening period. Because I think they're going to be throwing everything at us with wars. I mean, look at what's going on in the United States with all these crazy fires around San Francisco, is it?
LA.
Hollywood, Los Angeles?
LA.
LA? I can't remember.
I've just put a video out on it actually today. It's funny really regarding that, because all these places which have had bad fires or bad weather, is it just a coincidence that all these cities also happen to be planned to be 15-minute neighborhoods or smart cities? So it's a case of they've got to destroy what's there so they can build it back to how they want it.
Oh yeah. There's sort of high-speed rail plan through that area, so they've burned everybody out. But it's like you see a house and a car absolutely wrecked, and then a plastic wheelie bin and a tree's absolutely fine. Well, work that one out.
Exactly.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't until you realise you've got directed energy weapons, and you're like, no, it makes sense.
Probably.
Well, this is what they done. This is what happened in Florida with the blue roofs and stuff. Anything that was blue didn't get destroyed. Everything else was burnt to a cinder because the laser could only the laser doesn't recognise blue, and they've done this on. I've seen videos.
Sounds like a green screening almost.
Yeah, I've seen videos where they've had a laser pen and they just go down there, and every colour apart from the blue got scorched. So everyone's painting their roofs blue. So yeah, but listen, it's been fantastic talking to you. I'm gonna have to wrap it up because this has now got a
Yeah, yeah,
render, and I've got two more podcasts today. So
yeah.
thank you very much for your time. Really enjoyed listening to what you've had to say. I hope everyone watching has had a huge wealth of knowledge implanted into their brains by listening to what you've had to say. Until
Hopefully they're not
next,
too bamboozled.
absolutely, go and have a nice drink. But yeah, brilliant. Until next time, look after yourselves, everybody. Take care, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much.
No worries, mate. All the best.